Whoa, I wasn't expecting this. So just a few minutes ago, Apple has quietly updated the Apple Store with quite a few new products. So we haven't had an official event, we haven't had any sort of official announcement. Instead, Apple has taken the Apple Store down for like 12 hours and updated the Apple Store with a few new products, including a red iPhone 7, some iPad updates, some Apple Watch updates, and more. So hey everyone, welcome to the Zone of Tech. I'm Daniel, and here's everything that Apple has just announced and updated today in this silent Apple Store update. Enjoy. Okay, so number one, the first and also the biggest update that we got to see today is a new iPhone 7. Now, this is not spec-wise, it's still the same iPhone 7, however, it comes in red. So this is a product red version of the iPhone 7 and the iPhone 7 Plus. The front of the phone is white, however, the back has this product red color that we've seen before on the iPod Touch, on the iPod Nano, and on the iPod Shuffle. And even though this looks really good, at least from the press images, I think, at least in my opinion, that an iPhone 7 with a black front and then a glossy red back would have looked even more amazing. This red option comes with a matte red back. So yeah, it's basically the same color, the same finish as on the iPod Touch 6th generation. Now we have been expecting a red iPhone for quite a while now. However, we were only expecting a red iPhone 7s in September. It seems that Apple decided to release a red iPhone 7 just now, which is a bit disappointing for people who bought the iPhone 7 in September in a different color and really wanted maybe a red iPhone. So yeah, what do you guys think about this red iPhone? There's quite a few more things that I want to point out, by the way. So same as with the jet black iPhone 7, this is also an exclusive option. So you can only get it in 128 and 256 gigabytes. So if you really want it in 32, same as with the jet black iPhone 7, you're out of luck. Also, the prices for the 128 and the 256 gigabyte options are exactly the same as with all the other iPhone 7 models. Now, a pretty interesting thing about this red iPhone is that it actually has, for some reason, a different order page. So if you go on apple.com, if you go on purchase a new iPhone, you get all the usual colors, but you don't get the extra red option. Instead, there's a different page for that red iPhone 7. So I'm guessing that this is because the stock of the red iPhone 7 would be really limited. Oh, and by the way, this is not just a simple red color of the iPhone 7. So this is a product red option, which means that basically a percentage of each iPhone sold in red goes to the AIDS Fight Foundation in Africa. So this applies to all product red options. So if you buy a red case, product red case, if you buy a product red iPod, a percentage from each of those sales goes to the Fights for AIDS Foundation. Now, besides this red iPhone, the second star of the show was the new iPad. So the iPad Air 1 and also the iPad Air 2 were actually discontinued and replaced with a new iPad called iPad. So this is essentially a version of the iPad Air 3, but it's not called the iPad Air 3, it's called the iPad. Really not sure what Apple's doing with this whole naming scheme. It seems that they're trying to kill the iPad Air, or at least the iPad Air 1 and the iPad Air 2. So the main feature of this iPad is that, well, it doesn't actually have any special features. The price would be its main key selling feature, so to say. So this is the cheapest iPad that you can currently buy. So it's priced at $329 or £340. So it's quite significantly more expensive in the UK, thanks Apple. It comes with an Apple A9 CPU instead of the Apple A8 that the iPad Air 2 came with, or the Apple A7 that the iPad Air 1 came with, or the Apple A9X that the iPad Pro 9.7 inch comes with. So it's a bit slower than the iPad Pro 9.7 inch, basically the same processor as the one found in the iPhone 6s. However, even though this new iPad basically looks like an iPad Air 2 and it seems to be more powerful than an iPad Air 2, it's not the iPad Air 3 because this one actually has the same design as the iPad Air 1. So it's actually thicker than the iPad Air 2 and it's also heavier than the iPad Air 2. So it's basically an iPad Air 1 updated with an Apple A9 processor. But speaking of that, there's so many things that Apple isn't telling you about this new iPad. So I'll have a new video just covering everything that's changed on this new iPad pretty soon. It should be out today. So yeah, feel free to subscribe if you want to see that video in a few hours as soon as it comes out. Everything you need to know about the new iPad 2017. Number 3, we also got to see some Apple Watch updates. Now, unfortunately, we didn't get any new Apple Watches. Instead, we got some new Apple Watch bands. So Apple is calling this the Spring 2017 collection, and here are all the bands that we got. So we got 3 new colors for the sports band, a Pebble, an Azure, and Camilla colors. Yeah, pretty weird names, but these are all the new colors for the sports band. Then we also got some new colors for the woven nylon, so berry, Tahoe blue, orange red, Poland, and midnight blue. And the classic buckle has apparently been updated with a new buckle design, and we also got 3 new colors, so sapphire, berry, and taupe. So I probably didn't pronounce that correctly, but yeah, these are all the new 2017 spring collection Apple Watch bands. Then number 4, this might just be the most interesting thing that Apple has released this year. So this is an app. Number 4, Apple has released a new app. It's called Clips, and you can get it on the iPhone and the iPad. It's not out just yet. It's only been announced. And this new Clips app, what it does is that you can actually create multi-clip videos on your iPhone. So this is similar to iMovies, however, it's much more simplistic. So you can add text, you can add effects, you can add lots of filters, and then share all of these on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and so on. So the concept definitely seems pretty interesting, a more stripped down version of iMovie, an easier to use version, and also a more, simplistic version of iMovie. So the concept seems pretty good, even though I have wished Apple to release a full social network app. That would have been really interesting. But yeah, they've actually tried that in the past twice with Apple Music Connect, which you've probably heard of, which kind of failed, and then iTunes Pink, which also failed. Yeah, Apple tried making a social network before, and it didn't turn out that nicely. Number 5, we also got some minor updates in terms of the iPhone SE. So the iPhone SE is now available in both 32 and 128 gigabytes of storage, and it also starts at $400 now. So yeah, unfortunately no iPhone SE 2 or iPhone SE Series 2, just a storage bump and a price drop. Number 6, we also got an iPad mini update, and no, unfortunately this is not a new iPad mini. Instead, the iPad mini only comes in 128 gigabytes of storage now. So yeah, there's no way of getting the iPad mini in 32 gigabytes or even 64 gigabytes now. You can only get it in 128. However, the good news is that it's actually cheaper now, starting at $400. So there you go, this was everything that Apple has announced today. Well, basically not announced, but quietly updated in the Apple Store. I mean, overall, we did get some decent amount of updates, definitely not worthy of a separate event. So I would have definitely wished to see a new Mac Pro, which might not be coming until, 2050 or something. I would have wished to see some new iMacs and also some new iPads, some actual new iPads, because this new iPad isn't an entirely new iPad. It's basically just an updated iPad Air 1 with an Apple A9 processor. But yeah, we are definitely expecting some new iPads to be released in 2017, so definitely stay tuned for those somewhere around June most likely, or maybe even the end of April. So definitely stay tuned for a separate event on those new iPads and a separate event for the Mac Pro. These might actually happen in either the end of April or in at WWDC 2017, which is going to be in June. But yeah, feel free to subscribe if you have enjoyed this video, and also if you want to see my separate video on the new 2017 iPad, which should be out later on today. So definitely stay tuned for that video. Also be sure to enable notifications on my channel so that you're notified as soon as a new epic video comes out. Let me know in the comments, what do you guys think about all the announcements that we've seen today? So which device, so to say, are you most excited for? For me personally, I think it's the new photography app, so Clips. I think that's the thing that I'm mostly excited for. I won't be getting the red iPhone 7, by the way, because I already have an iPhone 7, and I wouldn't have gotten it at the beginning only if the front was actually black and the back was glossy red. That would have looked insane. And the Apple Watch bands, they do look quite nice. Oh, and by the way, I forgot to mention something in terms of the Apple Watch bands. You can actually purchase Nike Plus bands separately if you really wish to, which is definitely something that I will be picking up soon. But other than that, this was pretty much it for this video. Thank you all for watching until the end. For those of you who made it until the end, I'm Daniel, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Enough that, signing out. Cheers.